welcome to my channel. Over the past weekend, my local town was the host of the annual Ironman Triathlon, which is a relentless test of endurance entailing 3 grueling disciplines: a 3.8km swim, a 182km cycle ride, and an uninterrupted full marathon. And there's no rest between any of these stages. And the participants, which are true heroes, courageously embraced this formidable challenge made even more daunting by the scorching day's unforgiving heat. And inspired by the event's sheer intensity, I seized the opportunity to encapsulate the unfiltered essence of their struggle through my lens. And every photograph I captured was a visual narrative of their determined spirit and unwavering resolve, which was etched across the face of these determined contenders. So in today's video, I want to share a selection of shots from that day and demonstrate a methodical editing process with Lightroom and how to elevate the subject from the background to make them really stand out. So without any further delay, let's dive straight in. So this is the image I'm going to start editing first. But first of all, I want to talk about this panel. Now I've organised this panel for lens corrections, then transform, which then organises the levelling of the image and any lines that are not horizontal or vertical. For instance, if you've got buildings, you can adjust it there. And then you've got your basic panel with your white balance and your exposure settings. So in order to get this in order for that, then you just right click, hit customize develop panel, and now you can actually organize the order that you want. And this is, I'd recommend this order because these are the essential things you want to be setting first as your lens corrections transform, and then obviously your white balance and cropping first before that, obviously. On this, I've got my lens corrections and it's already retained the data from the image itself and it's copied it into Lightroom. Lightroom's taken that data and applied the corrections automatically. You can have it manual set if you want, but I prefer that way. And then you go to transform and then just set auto and it will level the image automatically, or you can go into manual and do the manual settings there. So next is crop, and crop's important because what it will do is you watch the histogram change in values when you change the crop value. So I'm just going to change the crop and I just have him on the bottom third. And you can see now the histogram has changed, and that's because it's only measuring the tonal values within the cropped area, and so that's important. So next we go on to white balance and we find a neutral area in the frame for which is as close as you can get to 46 as possible, and it can be challenging, but so 12:750, and it was early in the morning, so the light was quite dim and it's going to be around about that level. Okay, so let's go into the basic exposure settings. Highlights down, whites up, and that's about that. Bring up black, so that's okay. So that's the basic exposure. So next we want to start separating the subjects of interest from the background. And I'll be using the masking features with this. You've got people there, I want to separate them and lift them off the background. So if we go into select subject, it'll bring them up. There are a few little extra bits I need to do with this. So it's just adding a brush value and then increasing the feather there, and then just bringing this in here, just create a little bit extra. His hat was missing. So there's a few little touches you need to do, and then do some minus as well, bring down the feather level there. So it's just this area here picked up I want to get rid of, and just around his arm there, just remove that, create another mask, select subject, picks them up, but then invert it, and then you just add areas to the mask you want added. So next we work on this mask and then just bring down the highlights, really darken everything down, lifting, not too much, and then desaturate it a little as well. Just takes out the colour a little bit, and then that's done. Let's go back to this mask, bring up the details here, lift the shadows, and just a little bit of exposure up, and then just add a bit of contrast with this tone curve. Start to see the contrast starting to appear now, and then a little bit with the colours, and just going through, just adding a small S curve through the red and the primary colour range. So what you've got here is a primary and secondary colour ranges, and I'm just creating an S curve for that. You can see they're really starting to come alive, so have a look at the difference that's made. It's really put some detail there, so I'm pleased about that. So let's go back into the global now. I don't need to do the tone curve of the global because I've done it locally. Let's have a look at the colours. There's not much colours to worry about, so just bringing in some of the changes, a little bit deeper green, arms up there, so that's okay. Saturation, that's it, it's okay. Luminant, really making them pop a little bit, that's good. I don't think I want to do any more than that. and then colour grading. So let's go to the shadows, around to the middle, magenta, and then that goes up there, that's good. And then global. Just add a global glass over there. So you can see that image is coming out pretty well now, and I'm happy with that. So the next thing you can do is go into detail and then click on the denoise, and it really will calm down the effects here, so that's good there. So you can see it's cleaned him up, and then you just click on enhance. Now I've already done this, so I'll just show you the results of that, and you can see now that it's cleaned that image up nicely. So the next one I'm going to go to is the Cyclists here, and we'll go through the same process, lens corrections, transform, and just click the auto, and then we go into crop the image to where you want, and I want to just crop this down so they're more or less in line with all the thirds there. Just bring that in a bit more. So his eye pretty much leveled in there, and that's where I want that. Just lift them up a little bit so they're equal on the screen. Done. So next is we go into white balance. Then we go to the basic shadows, lift all them up. Highlights, whites down there. Blacks can create a little bit of contrast with the blacks and the whites. So now we want to go into mask values and mask the subject. So let's just get the cyclist highlighted and then invert that so they're in the background. And then I'll create another mask, subjects again. So I've got two masks now. Let's just do the background. Now I want to bring down the highlights and the whites and the shadows, and then desaturate as well, just reduce saturation and the colours are not so prominent there, and that's why I want that. I'm going to add another mask for those cones there. So select object and just highlight this object here, and then I just want to increase the colour of that just a little bit, that's all. Okay, so now I want to work on the main subject there. I'll lift up the shadows, brighten them out. Highlights can calm down a little bit, and then just look at the contrast locally with the tone curve. This is just altering the subject itself, so that's good. And you can see the difference that makes. A little bit, brings them alive a little bit, but I've got some redness in there now. I want to bring that redness down, that's better. So next is the global and then the HSL panel. So just have a look at the tonal values there. So I just want to bring down some of the tonal values. It's a little bit orangey there, so I want to pick these colour values, bring that alive a little bit more. Nice area there, and let's go into the top of the basics panel, the highlights, and bring down the whites a little bit. So I'm quite happy with that. That's really punched them out a little bit more, so I'm pleased with that. So what you can do with this is set up and just onto the next image there, you can then sync this image with that image. So you just go to sync and then just add the masks and synchronize. And then what we'll do is work everything out and then apply all the changes to the second image, and then just make the slight changes you need to make. And then the next one is this runner. So we go through the same thing as lens corrections, we know that, and then the transform is just sitting auto, cropping, and create a portrait with this. So I want that, and then we can do white balance close as I can. And then this one you can select people, create mask, then obviously invert, bring down the saturation, highlights and whites, shadows, that's done. Select people again, same guy, then make him pop a little bit. I don't need to bring up the highlights too much, so I do some contrast with the colour range. See the changes made, a nice bit of contrast in there now, so that really makes a nice difference when you do that. And let's go to the HSL. So let's just jump into the colour grading now. So we'll start off with the shadows and just add a little bit of a blue tint there. And then we go into the mid-tones and just go for magenta. And then we go off to the highlights and just between the yellow and green. That matches the 3 colour rule in Adobe Colour, and a bit of global colour just to put a tint across the whole image. And I'm really happy with that. Having the area around the background, it's making the subject really pop out. Just toning down the colour values behind. So the final image I took at the watering station because I just wanted to capture the drama of the runners taking on the water that they needed, because it really was a seriously hot day and they do need a medal for that. So first things first is just go to the lens corrections, just check that, it's fine. Down to transform and just make the automatic change, that's okay. I don't need to crop, so I'll go straight into the basic panel and then look at the white balance and just find an area on the screen that's neutral, nearest to 46% as I can, that's okay. I'm happy with that. And then just go around and have a look at the highlights and just make some minor adjustments there, like lifting the shadows a little bit, bring down the highlights, and just look at the main exposure, maybe just take it down a tad, just to get the mid-tones in the middle there, that's okay. And then just maybe look at a little bit of contrast between the whites and the blacks, so lift the whites a little bit, and then bring down the backs a little bit more, that's okay. Next is go to masks, and then just mask out the single subject, create the mask, and then I want to, there's a little bit there I need to remove, so go to the minus and create a brush and just take away that little bit area that's been left with the mask. But sometimes it don't pick it out, maybe the colours are quite close together. So next is create the mask again, select people, this one, create two masks. Now I want to invert it this time and then add to the mask with a brush, same area. So we can now reduce this area here with the highlights, whites and the shadows, and even bring down the exposure a little bit, so just a tad. Really makes the subject here pop out a lot more, and even just desaturate the colours a little bit as well. I like the idea of that, and that's much better. So it's really made him jump out. I'm going to do some other things here, just add a bit of a warming tone to the area, that's it. Not a lot needed to do with this guy because his shadows are pretty much bright. Bring down that, a little bit of contrast, okay, really, and then just create some contrast with the tone curve here. I like doing that, it's good. Just a normal simple S curve for that, I'm happy with that. I might just lift him up a little bit more, the shadows now. It's a nice contrasted shot that. Okay, so I've got those two sorted, and now what I want to do is go into the HSL. Find some areas I want to lift a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I just want to work on the background a little more. So I just want to open up the mask, bring up the background, just lift the highlights, then the shadows a little bit. That's about okay. Now I want to just affect one side, which is the right hand side. So I'm going to go back into mask, create a linear gradient, drag that across. Then I want to minus the subject from that. So then I right click and go to intersect with, and then you just choose your mask, which is the person. And then just click on that, create the mask, and invert, and then therefore now you've got that area, so you want to then reduce the exposure and then create a radial mask on the opposite side, and then just create the effect of a little bit brighten this area up, so then it just creates a nice style to the image, and then just lift that exposure, and you can see now that it kind of helps a little bit, and I like the effect. Let me know in the comments below to see what you think. I think his jersey is a little bit too bright, so I just want to calm his top down a little bit, just to calm it down. Maybe just a bit of desaturation, that's it. That's a little bit better. So I'm really pleased how this one's turned out. I wanted to desaturate the whole colours, but I just wanted to lift selected colours in the background just a little bit more than others, just to create a nice stylistic effect, and also use the masking tools to darken some areas and brighten other areas, which you can see there, and it's really turned out nice. And let me know in the comments, see what you think below. So I'm just putting together a final touches to a preset pack that I'll be releasing soon, so keep an eye out for that in the up and coming videos. So by adopting a structured editing approach, you can enhance your workflow's efficiency and ensure a uniform outcome for your images. And notice how I employ the masking feature to distinguish the main subject from the background. while also desaturating the background's colours to make the main subject pop out a little bit more. Additionally, stay tuned for an upcoming preset release that will further speed up your workflow. And when you incorporate these presets, you'll experience even greater efficiency gains. So keep an eye out for them in my future videos. So if you did get some value from this video, that's fantastic. So hit that subscribe button, press the like button, ring that notification bell, and put some comments below to let me know what you think about the images that I've edited and the editing process itself. I'll be really looking forward to seeing any feedback that you have. So you take care, and I'll see you in the next one.